بس ما تنزليهم من المديانين.
ايوه في اعمل ميوت.
هو المستر ما دخلش.
شكلها لا مفيش غير انا وانت اصلا. لا ده في 41 في 41 واحد.
Hello, dear students. How are you? Okay. Can you see me right now?
Yes.
Yes, this is great. Okay. Please give me a minute, okay? Just to finish something, okay?
Okay. استنى متأكد. لا
Okay. This is our first meeting, right? Okay, and I hope that we can make biology an interesting subject. I get that you know all the rules, right? Our online will be in the form of a PowerPoint presentation and videos. Then you will get questions, check questions on Edmodo. After you watch, after we explain everything, you have to go back to Edmodo and answer the concept checks. Do you have any problem with this? Do you have any problem? Can you hear me?
No, thank you.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me, or no, you can't hear me.
لا, yes, we
No,
can
yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear
Okay,
you.
this is going to be the way we will deal with biology this year, till the end of the year, inshallah. Our lesson today, inshallah, is going to be about phylum Annelida and phylum Mollusca. This is a PowerPoint presentation. We have instructions here. You have to read these instructions well, okay, so you can get the benefit of this presentation. This presentation includes two different phyla, phylum Annelida and phylum Mollusca. So we will learn all the characteristics of these organisms. When you finish studying slide number 2 of this presentation, please stop and watch the video. You will find a video. Watch this video, okay, carefully. When you finish this video, continue, okay, to slide number 3. By the end of slide number 6, please stop, watch the video. Review what you have learned, all, okay, starting with the general characteristics for annelids till the end of the classes. After the quick revision, you have to go to Edmodo to answer the checkpoint annelids. You will find a checkpoint, okay, known as annelids. Answer these questions. When you finish answering these questions, return back to the presentation again and start the second part that deals with phylum Mollusca. We start with the general characteristics for phylum Mollusca, comparing this phylum with phylum Annelida to know which of them is more advanced than the other. Then, when we reach the slide number 14, we must stop and watch the video. After watching this video, we will move to slide number 15. Slide number 15 deals with the classification of phylum Mollusca. When you finish this classification, make a quick revision then go to Edmodo and answer the concept check for mollusks. Do you have any problem with these instructions?
No.
What's the problem?
No.
What's your problem? Okay, this is great. As you know, each lesson has its own objectives. So when we deal with phylum Annelida and phylum Mollusca, we must fulfill or attain or achieve these objectives. We must know the characteristics of each phylum. Number two, you must learn how to compare the different phyla using the general characteristics and why is this phylum more advanced than the other. We can know this from studying the general characteristics of each phylum. You must learn how to deduce the basis upon which scientists classified living organisms into different phyla. You will find out that each phylum has its own specific characteristics that make it unique. So I can't gather all organisms in one phylum according to these characteristics. So I must learn how to deduce the general characteristics of each phylum and why did scientists put organisms within this phylum. Also, we must study the adaptations that enable these organisms to survive under different conditions and to spread in nature. I can find a certain organism in Africa, in Asia, in Europe. I must ask myself, how did this organism spread in nature? What are the adaptations and structures that enable this organism to spread and to survive? Then we must analyze the basis of classification. How did scientists use these bases in classifying living organisms? Do you have any question with these objectives? Mm-hmm. If you have a question, just raise your hand, okay, and answer. And I will answer this question. Any question? Okay. This is the first slide within this presentation. This slide deals with studying the characteristics or the general characteristics of annelids or phylum Annelida. Some pronounce it Annelida, others pronounce it Annelida. Okay, you have the choice, either Annelida or Annelida. We are going to talk about the general characteristics of this phylum. Annelids in general are segmented worms. Segmented means what? It means that the body of the animal is divided into segments. These segments are related to the internal structure of the organism. Inside the animal, there are structures known as septi. These septi divide the body of the animal into rings. So we call these animals segmented worms. Back again to worms. We have three different types of worms. Who can remind me about the different types of worms? We have flat worms or platyhelminthes. We have round worms or nematodes. We have ringworms or annelids. So there are three different types of worms in the animal kingdom. Flatworms like Bilharzia, like liverfluke, like planaria. Roundworms like Ascaris, and segmented worms like earthworm. So this phylum includes segmented worms. So I can deduce that the body of the animal within this phylum is divided into segments. Understood? This is the first characteristic and individuals related to phylum Annelida, the presence of segmented body. Annelids in general have bilateral symmetry. What do we mean by bilateral symmetry? Bilateral symmetry means that you can divide the organism into two identical parts by only one plane passing through the center, not more than one plane. If we can divide by more than one plane, we call this radial symmetry. So in case of bilateral symmetry, the animal can be divided into two identical parts by only one plane passing through its center. We have studied this before. Annelids in general are coelomate animals. Look at this word, coelomate. Coelomate means what? The coelom is a cavity. So these organisms are characterized by the presence of a true cavity inside their bodies. The animal that has a cavity inside its body is said to be coelomate. Again, coelomate means that the animal has an internal body cavity. So what about the other types of worms? Flat and round. Flat worms are acoelomate animals. They don't have body cavity. So we call them acoelomate, A for negation. Type. The second group, which is the round worms, we call them pseudocoelomates. Pseudocoelomates. Okay, so we have three different types of animals according to the presence or the absence of the coelom. We have acoelomate animals, no body cavity. We have pseudocoelomates. We have coelomates where the animal has an internal cavity. So this is a very important characteristic in case of annelids that differentiate them from other kinds of worms. Annelids are coelomate animals. They have true body cavity. So where do these organisms live? They live in marine environments, oceans, seas. They live in fresh water, and they live in moist environments. Whatever there is a moist environment, like muddy environment, you expect to find a type of annelids. So these are the environments inhabited by annelids: marine environment, freshwater environment, and moist environment. The animal has a complex digestive system. Okay, let me show you this. This is the digestive system in case of annelids. Look at this diagrammatic representation for the digestive system in case of annelids. This is a worm, okay? It has a digestive system. This digestive system starts with the mouth. This is the mouth of the worm, okay? This mouth leads to a structure known as the pharynx. This pharynx leads to the esophagus. Then you have a stomach. This structure represents the stomach. It consists of a part known as crop and another part known as gizzard. It's responsible for breaking down food. Then the stomach leads to a long intestine. This is a long intestine of annelids. The long intestine ends with an anus. We call this system two-way system because it has two openings. It has a mouth opening and it has an anus. This system is complete and complex in structure. This is the digestive system in case of annelids. Do you have any question?
Mr.
Yes.
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 What does it eat?
Okay. It depends on the type of the annelid. Not all annelids eat the same type of food, okay? If you have an aquatic annelid, it feeds on materials that differ from an annelid that lives in mud. Say, for example, we all know about earthworm. What does it feed on? Answer me.
The earthworm?
Yes. From the name.
Uh,
It feeds on mud, right?
that
It eats mud. بتاكل المد. But this mud contains organic material. So it can extract organic materials from mud. So this is in case of earthworm. So earthworms feed on mud containing organic food materials. Other kinds of annelids feed on blood. We have some kinds of annelids that feed on blood, like leeches. Did you hear about leeches before? Huh?
no.
Okay. The leech is a type of ringworms. It feeds on blood. It sucks blood. That's why ancient Egyptians used leeches in treating hypertension. Okay, so this is a digestive system in case of annelids. Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, then stomach, then a long intestine. This intestine ends with an anus. Okay? Back again to our presentation to talk about the general characteristics of phylum Annelida. We reached this point, the circulatory system in case of annelids. We call it closed circulatory system. You know the difference between closed circulatory system and open circulatory system? Do you know the difference? Anyone of you know the difference between closed and open circulatory system? Okay. In closed circulatory systems, there is no direct contact between air and blood. Like in case of man, do you have a direct contact between your blood and air? Answer.
No.
Okay,
No.
so we call this system closed system as blood moves inside closed vessels. As long as blood moves inside closed vessels without being in contact directly with air, we call this closed circulatory system. So the circulatory system is closed in case of annelids. Moving to respiration, there's a very important point on annelids. Annelids can respire through skin. We call this cutaneous respiration. Or gills if the annelid is aquatic. It has gills like in case of fish. So it can respire using these gills. Or through modified structures known as parapodia. Parapodia are extensions of the body. These parapodia help in locomotion and respiration. So back again, when we talk about respiration in annelids, we are talking about respiration through skin, respiration through gills, or respiration through parapodia, which are extensions characteristic for annelids. Annelids have specialized excretory organs. Okay, in man, if you want to excrete materials, okay, you have kidneys, right? These kidneys can extract waste out of blood and pass waste outside. But what about annelids? They have structures known as nephridia. These structures are responsible for extracting waste out of blood, then passing waste outside. So the structures responsible for excretion in case of annelids are known as nephridia. The nervous system in case of annelids. Look at this diagram. Okay, the nervous system in case of annelids, it starts with a brain that exists at the head region. You can see this structure. This structure represents the brain. It's not a brain like your brain, okay? But we call it a brain. It's scientifically known as ganglia, but it's not brain like man's brain. So we have a brain here at the head region. This brain is connected to the main nerve cord. This structure is known as nerve cord. So we have a brain at the head region connected to nerve cord, main nerve cord, and we have many nerves that spread over the body of the animal. This is the nervous system in case of annelids. Brain, very simple in structure, ganglia, then nerve cord, main nerve cord, and group of nerves. Moving to reproduction. Animals in case of phylum Annelida are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means what? Who can answer? What is the
Male and
meaning of a
female.
hermaphrodite? I want to hear your voice.
They are both male and female.
Excellent. Okay, this is great. We can say that the animal has both male and female genital organs. If the organism has both male and female genital organs, it's said to be a hermaphrodite. So I expect that reproduction is done mainly by sexual means in case of annelids, by cross-fertilization. Cross-fertilization between two different worms, okay? Not inside the same worm, but cross-fertilization occurs. Some annelids,
Why, Mr.?
okay, two worms, okay, align or become aligned together. Then they exchange sperms, okay, from one worm to the other. This is how reproduction takes place in annelids. Two worms are aligned, then they become closer and exchange sperms together. This is, we call this cross-fertilization because sperms moved from one animal to another. But if sperms move inside the same animal, this is going to be self-fertilization, like in case of the tapeworm. You remember the tapeworm? Okay, this is one of the flatworms. Fertilization is done by self, okay, where sperms move from one segment to the other segment. While in case of annelids, two worms are aligned, then they exchange sperms. So we call this cross-fertilization. Understood? Did you get the point?
Yes.
Okay. Some annelids reproduce asexually by fission or regeneration.
Yes.
This is a sexual reproduction. It doesn't require the presence of two individuals. So we call it asexual reproduction. We have different means for asexual reproduction. From these means, regeneration. Regeneration means the ability to restore cut parts. Okay, this is a meaning of regeneration. Or the ability of a cut part to grow into a complete animal. This is a meaning of regeneration. So some annelids reproduce asexually by regeneration or fission. Any question? These are the main characteristics of phylum Annelida that you have to know. If you want to ask about any point, just ask me right now before moving to the next presentation.
Mister, is it parasitic?
It depends on the type of the worm. You can't generalize. Some annelids are parasitic, while others are free-living. Okay? So when we talk about classes, we will discuss these points, but I can't generalize. Okay? Talking about feeding, some annelids live as free-living organisms, while others are parasitic. Some annelids are filter feeders, okay, while others are not. Okay, so I can't generalize when I talk about phylum Annelida concerning feeding. Okay, next to this, this is going to be a video. Watch this video carefully. It's very important, okay, to summarize all these points and to get an idea about the general characteristics of annelids. This is very important, okay? This is a very important video. So watch it carefully. Moving to taxonomy or classification of annelids. Phylum Annelida is subdivided into many classes, but we will study 3 classes only. These divisions are based on the structures known as chaetae. Chaetae are spiny-like structures attached to the body of the animal. The first class is known as class Polychaeta. You see, poly means what? In science, poly means what?
More than one.
Many.
Many, numerous, excellent. This is excellent. So poly in science means numerous. So when I say class Polychaeta, I am talking about worms with numerous chaetae or setae. These worms are provided with numerous chaetae or setae, okay? They are mainly marine worms, okay? They live in marine environment. They are provided with numerous chaetae or setae. The body is divided into rings as you see, okay? These animals are characterized by the presence of structures known as parapodia, which are extensions that help in locomotion and respiration. So the term parapodia here is characteristic for class Polychaeta. I don't expect to find parapodia in oligochaeta or the other classes. So parapodia is characteristic for class Polychaeta. Example for polychaetes are the nereis. This is a type of worms known as nereis. Do you have a question with this class? This is all you have to know about class Polychaeta. They are marine. They have extensions known as parapodia. These parapodia help in locomotion and respiration. The example for polychaetes.
What's parapodia?
Parapodia are extensions of the body. When I examine the body of the polychaete, I will find structures protruding out of the body known as chaetae or setae, and other structures known as parapodia. These parapodia are rich with blood capillaries. They have network of blood capillaries, so they help in gas exchange. These are parapodia. The second class is oligochaeta. Oligo means what in science? As we said before, poly means numerous. Oligo means what? Who can answer? Oligo means few.
Single.
Few, okay? This is a meaning in science, few. So individuals within this class are characterized by the presence of few chaetae or setae. You know, the classification is based on the number of chaetae. If you have many or numerous, you are dealing with polychaeta. If you have few number of setae or chaetae, you are dealing with oligochaeta. Oligochaeta in general live in fresh environment. So expect to find them in fresh water, okay, and in muddy soil. There is where you can find individuals related to class oligochaeta. These organisms feed on mud, mainly on mud, and the organic materials included within mud. They play an important role in fertilizing the soil and increasing its aeration. So they are beneficial to farmers. Again, class oligochaeta, example is the earthworm. Remember that earthworm feeds or eats mud. Why? Why does it eat mud? To obtain the organic material included within mud. This organic material could be living or non-living. Anyway, oligochaetes feed on mud to obtain organic material. So we can call them filter feeders. Example for polychaetes are the earthworm. Any question? You have a question?
Yes.
No, ask.
When we study from the book, or the PowerPoint will be enough?
The PowerPoint is enough, okay, for now. But, okay, as an advice, okay, you have to learn how to use your textbook. This is very important. So use the PowerPoint at first, then go back to the textbook and read, just read. But these are the most important points you have to know, okay? The third class, what? This is chapter 33, okay? And this is the beginning of chapter 34. Moving to the third class, which is class Herodynia, or leeches. This is a third class included within phylum Annelida. In class Herodynia, Katie are absent. This is very important. So Katie exists in Polychaeta and Oligochaeta, while in case of class Herodynia, Katie are absent. These leeches mainly live in fresh water, but some of them inhabit marine water and moist environments. So when we talk about habitat, mainly fresh water, but some can live in marine water and moist environments. As you see, this is the shape of the leech. It has two suckers, one sucker at the anterior end of the body and another sucker at the posterior end of the body. These suckers help in locomotion. Locomotion means haraka, movement. So these suckers help in movement. Add to this, they fix the leech to the body of the host and suck blood. Leeches are blood suckers. They feed on blood. An example for leeches is the medical leech or Herudu. Ancient Egyptians used Herudu in medicine to treat hypertension. Okay, so this is the end of phylum Annelida. Do you have any question? Any question? Hello?
No.
Okay, this is a very important video. Okay, it explains the classification and the different classes of phylum Annelida. After watching this video, you have to answer the concept check Annelids on Edmodo. Okay? Moving to the second part of the presentation, which deals with phylum Mollusca. Look at these, okay, organisms. We know all of them, right? This is, okay, the octopus, this is a sepia, these are, okay, freshwater snails, other snails, okay? So these are the different kinds of excuse me. Okay.
هنخلص امتى يا مستر؟
Just 10 minutes, okay? Because we started late. And I'm so sorry for this, okay? Okay, we will try, okay, to skip some points. Talking about the general characteristics for, okay, mollusks, you will find out that, okay, the scientific terms are repeated, so we don't have to explain each of them, okay? Mollusks in general inhabit all environments except air. So I expect to find mollusks in marine environments, freshwater environments, on land, but I never expect to find mollusks in air. Any question? The second point, okay, individuals related to phylum Mollusca are triploplastic. Triploplastic means what? Who can answer? When I say triploplastic, this means what?
They have endo and exo, something like that.
Okay, good, okay, good. Okay.
3 parts in the body.
Tri means 3, right? Okay, so we have 3 germ layers during embryonic development: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. germ. So if the animal has 3 germ layers during embryonic development, the animal is said to be triploplastic. This is the meaning of triploplastic. They have bilateral symmetry like the majority of animals. The body of the mollusk is divided into head, mantle, foot, and visceral mass. Look at this diagrammatic representation for the different parts of the body of the mollusk. You see this structure? Okay, this structure represents the body of a mollusk. Look at the structure well, okay? Okay, this is the mouth of the mollusk. You see this region? This region represents the mouth. The mouth in case of mollusks is provided with a structure known as the radula. This radula is a rasping organ. It has teeth. It plays an important role in feeding. The radula leads to the mouth, then the digestive system. You see the green structures? All these green structures represent the digestive system in case of mollusks. So this is the first part in the structure, the mouth. The second part in the structure of a mollusk is known as the foot. This brownish structure represents the foot of the mollusk. It's used in movement and in digging. Okay, some mollusks dig in sand, so they use this foot in digging and in motion. So this is the second structure. We started with the mouth, where the radula exists, then moved to the brown structure here, which is the foot. The third part in the structure of the mollusk is the visceral mass. You see all these structures represent what is known as visceral mass. Visceral means we are dealing with the different organs that exist inside the body cavity. Then we have this yellow structure is known as the mantle. The mantle is the structure responsible for the formation of the shell in mollusks. Back again to the shell. Mollusks either live inside shells or shells could be internal. So the mantle is the structure responsible for the production or the formation of the shell in case of mollusks. Any question about the structure? Back again. Mouth, this is for feeding, and it leads to the visceral organs or the digestive system. We have a foot for locomotion and digging. We have visceral mass for feeding, for circulation, for excretion, and so on. We have a structure known as the mantle that forms the shell. These are the main parts of the mollusk. So this is the structure of the mollusk, the 4 different regions that form the body of a mollusk: the head, mantle, foot, and visceral mass. Okay, mollusks have well-developed nervous system. Mollusks have well-developed circulatory system. The circulatory system is closed in the majority of mollusks and opened in some mollusks. Any question? You have any question? Respiration, the same, takes place by gills or lungs or both. Gills if you are dealing with an aquatic mollusk, okay? Lungs in case of terrestrial mollusks. The same as in case of annelids. Excretion is done by metanephridia or kidneys. Moving to the last slide that deals with the classification of phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca is subdivided into many classes. The most important 3 classes are class Pelecypoda. This is the first class. You are required to know the names of organisms related to each class and the most important characteristic. Examples for organisms related to Pelecypoda are clams, mussels, oysters. These are related to class Pelicypoda. Pelicypoda are known as bivalves or bivalvata because they live in a shell. This shell is made of two valves, so it can be opened or closed. The second class is class Gastropoda. Okay? In gastropods, some are poisonous. They secrete toxic materials. Okay? The third class is class Cephalopoda, like octopus and sepia. This class is known as Cephalopoda. This is the end of the presentation and the end of the lesson. If you have any question, please let me know. You have any question?
No.
Anybody have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Go back again, okay? This is gonna be, okay, a quick summary about this lesson. We started with phylum Annelida, right? Okay. We studied the general characteristics for phylum Annelida. We know that annelids are segmented worms. They have well-developed digestive systems, circulatory systems, nervous system. Excretion is done by nephridia. We can classify annelids into two different classes according to the number of Kt. So we have class Polycata, numerous Kt. We have class Oligocata, where the number of Kt is few. We have class Heterodynia, where Kt are absent. Some annelids live freely, while others live as parasites. Okay? Then we moved to the second phylum, phylum Mollusca, or soft-bodied organisms. These are organisms that live inside shells, and in some, the shell is external. We studied the general characteristic, then moved to classes like class Pelicypoda or bivalvata, where the shell consists of two valves, then class Gastropoda and class Cephalopoda. If you have any question, please inform me or send your questions on Edmodo, and I will answer these questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be
واحنا
with
نخش
علي.
دلوقتي نخش